I guess that's fighting you, huh?
Fighting me.
Okay. Maybe it's God's sign. He says, oh, you got it working? Too bad. Darn. So you have this core group of people who have been slaves. On the way, they are joined by other slaves, other poor and oppressed. Okay, some of whom were probably from the land of Canaan itself, who were revolting against the ruling elites. Anyway, they come together, and it's the end of a war. It's the end of a time together. Joshua himself, now an old man, probably getting ready to die. And he brings them together and he says, look, the war's at an end. God has given us this land, but now you have to make a choice. Who do you give yourself to? Who is the center of your life? Is it going to be the God of our ancestors whom we worship, or is it going to be someone else? And if it's someone else, great. Go in peace. It's okay. But you can't stay here and pretend to be one of us if you're not one of us. You've got to choose. And that's what Joshua is saying. All right? And there is an immediate reaction because this choice means living a lifestyle according to what today we call the commandments of God, the Ten Commandments. It's being in covenant with God, a word that I used ad nauseum that Bridget and Lily heard last year, and you are going to hear ad nauseum in a couple of weeks. Okay? And from all this, there is the reaction of those who defect on the spot, those who say, yeah, we'll do it, and their faith kind of allows them to deteriorate because living this kind of life is hard. And yet there are those who, like Joshua, with determination say, look, whatever you do, this is the choice I make. As for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. So fast forward. The same scenario plays out. At the end of this incredibly long reflective discourse that today we call this Bread of Life discourse, where Jesus has been teaching them, it's not about being a healer or a wonder worker, about feeding people with a small amount of bread. It's about who is the true wisdom of our life, who is the center of our faith, who is the bread of life, as he used the discourse, whose word is greater than even the law of Moses. You can't gain life on your own. He himself is the divine revelation, and if you want to be a follower, you have to choose him. Choose his life, choose the Spirit, choose the reality of resurrected life. Know that the way to God is through the cross, all the things he said to them. And at the end, people walk away, as they always do. And then he turns to the inner core, the 12, and he says to them, all right, and you, what will you do? It's up to you. And Peter speaks not only for himself, and not only for the 12, but I think he speaks for every one of us who've been baptized, every one of us who would want to call him or herself a Christian. He says, Lord, where can we go? You're the only one who makes sense for me. My life doesn't make sense except for you. And it had to be Peter who did this. It can't be somebody wonderful and perfect and who always gets it right. And the one thing I love about the person of Peter, my personal patron saint, I identify with, not because he was a pope, but because of his imperfections. The person who always said the right thing and never followed through. The person who was also very capable of saying the wrong thing and the stupid thing. And being so incredibly predictably unpredictable. Who was so flawed. He is so me. And I would like to say, to be fair, don't get angry, he's so you. Okay? Because he speaks for us all. The question that's posed to him is, where do you want to go? It's your choice. But if you choose to follow Christ, you do so following his law, loving God above all things, loving your neighbor as yourself, love one another as he has loved us, coming here and partaking in the bread of life, and living a life of love and service to others. It's that moment on the aircraft carrier where you either say, yes, I will, or no, I won't. The minute you make your decision, you can't walk away from it. You have to have one or the other. You can't have it both ways. So what kind of a believer do you choose to be? Where will you go? Whom will you follow? Whom will you serve? Amen.
Amen.